Real quick before we get into today's episode of the podcast, if you guys like anything that Nodnin Studios is doing, including their game, which is listed on Steam, they also have a Kickstarter right now to fund their game. I'd recommend checking out their Kickstarter. It's only live for the next few days, and I'd much appreciate you guys supporting them and helping them out. And all of those links can be found in the description here on YouTube. And without further ado, here's Nodnin Studios. Hey guys, welcome back to the Digital Pen Pals podcast. My name is Zach Schertz. I'm your host. This is an awesome art podcast where we get to talk to a bunch of other creative artists and people out there online. And yeah, I'm super stoked to learn a little bit more. This is kind of a new subject for me because it's not something I really know much about. But in today's episode, we have some awesome guests. We have Kay and Faye.
Hello.
Hi guys. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Doing fantastic. Now I met Faye, I believe, first through TikTok, right?
Yep. First through TikTok.
Through TikTok. And yeah, you were telling me that you've developed a game and it's on Steam. Almost.
Yep. It's on Steam.
It's on Steam, but like, yeah.
You can wishlist it.
Yeah, you can wishlist it, of course.
Close.
Yeah. So how did that all start?
About 3 years ago, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, the first iteration of this project was completely different than what you see now. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
And it was just an interesting experience. Mostly solo developed. Then about 10 months or so ago, I put together this wonderful team. Kay's a partner, my writer, my everything, really, and truly.
Oh.
That's awesome.
And yeah, we're excited to introduce you to Nimmery.
Nimmery. Awesome. And what about you, Faye? I read your little bio on your Kickstarter, and pretty impressive with your story writing and all the experience that you have.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I said Faye. Sorry, man. Okay. Oh,
Hey.
geez. Okay, sorry. I told you I'd do it eventually.
That's okay.
I get mixed up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I've basically always just been a writer. I went to school, got my MFA in creative writing. Never wrote for a video game before, so this is brand new for me. But I'm mostly a novelist. I've written some webcomics. And Faye approached me to see if I wanted to write for Nimmery. And I was like, all right, if you're going to take a chance on me. It's definitely a challenge, but it's new and exciting, and I'm having a lot of fun with it.
That's awesome. And how long have you been on the team now?
I don't know, like, when was I officially, like, August, July?
Oh, so pretty
Yeah.
recently. Wow.
I'm, like, brand new.
Yeah.
We met quite recently.
Oh, that's cool.
Actually.
Yeah, like, this past spring, I think we met.
Yeah.
It was around, like, May, I think, or June. Something like that, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. How'd you
We'll
guys
say
meet,
you
if
were
you don't mind
the-
me asking?
So I volunteer for Zelda Universe.
Okay.
I am the director of the guides team, so we were looking for some help with some of our new content. Skyward Sword, if you're a Zelda fan, was coming out in July, well, the HD version. So we were looking for help cleaning up our guides a little bit, and Faye had volunteered, sent an application, and joined our team. And we just got to talking from there.
That's awesome.
And then last month, 3 weeks ago, I was out there.
Oh, yes. Yeah, she flew up to New
I
Hampshire.
can't remember
Oh, wow.
what it was.
It was about a month ago now, yeah, I think so.
Wow. Okay,
I know.
sure.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
was out there for a week. We shot the live action footage. We went out to Purgatory Falls, almost to I think you said Vermont.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like Western New Hampshire.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a really nice video shoot you guys did. For those that listeners that don't know, they do have a Kickstarter and on their website as well, and they have a video to go with it, and it kind of shows kind of like, I guess, how would you describe it? Kind of like a visual representation of like Nimri, but like live action kind of.
Yeah, we tried to make it kind of grabby. Definitely, I'm not a film person, a
Uh-huh.
videographer, whatever, so
Yeah,
kind of amateur footage, but we did what we could.
yeah, I thought it
Yep.
was fantastic. Like
Thank you.
honestly, that was great.
Yep. She helped me direct it and filmed it and acted in it and then edited it
And
for
made
the
the
most part.
costume.
Yeah, and made the
A
costume.
little bit of cosplay goes a long way, right?
Yep.
I had my hands in everything.
Nice.
The entire project has literally been Kay's hands in everything right now. She's doing the assistant art director stuff so I could actually take a step back and do the 3D art that I've been trying to do for the last 2 months on the project. I do primarily stylized props and VFX. I did a mentorship with Nate Lane, who, if you don't know, was a lead VFX artist for League of Legends. I
Okay.
spent a summer with him and got to learn how to do all sorts of really cool stuff that I've not been able to put into my own game yet because I've been too busy project managing and corralling everyone and, hey, you need to do this, and you need to do this, and you need to get off of their toes. And I'm over here like, I'm tired. I can't do my own work now. I need some
Yeah.
help. And there's about 8 or 9 of us at the moment. We have interns now,
Oh wow.
so that's been helpful. Yeah, my first time running a company because it's an actual registered Nodnin Studios
Oh wow.
LLC, Orlando, Florida.
That's
Like,
sweet.
right? It's really cool. I'll be 28 next month. I've been doing this since I was 10.
Oh nice.
I, yeah, I was like, I want to build video games. My parents go, yeah, sure, Went down to the library. I came stack of books. Went through it. Chris Crawford's book on game design. Jesse Shell's art of game design. A book of lenses. Like
Uh-huh.
just books that were bigger than my head, and
Yeah.
I was just delving into them and doing that 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time. And then I was homeschooled all throughout high school and everything,
Wow.
so I had plenty of time to do my own
Oh
thing.
yeah.
So that was an experience that not a lot of people get actually, because they have to deal with the public school nonsense up and
Yeah.
all. And
Yep.
then 16, 17, I did dual enrollment at Orlando Technical College for 3D animation and game design. Wasn't enrolled in the game design stuff, but we were there.
Yeah.
It was 2 separate classes, and it eventually became 1 class after I left, but so that was fun. I got to learn Cinema 4D and a couple other things. The year after that, I took a digital audio class, which was super fun. I got to learn live sound, and that's kind of how I've always learned. It's like, okay, I want to build games, so I need to know how to do the art, how to do the sound, how to do all of it. And so I've learned all of it, really and truly. I'm not good at programming. That's one of my weak spots. It's just a lot. I'm not good at it. So
Yeah.
it's like, cool, I'm going to find people to do that. And we have some amazing people, honestly. Kay actually brought a friend of hers who's now our lead programmer, and he hit the ground running.
Right. That's awesome.
Mm.
And uh like cuz I know I was reading about how you guys start when you guys started this, like it's been you've been basically on like a full like year of like producing this stuff, being self-employed, right? Or was it 3 years or something? I forget how long it was.
So
3 years?
yeah, I lost my job before COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and then we ended up with COVID. My living situation tanked. I had to come back here to Florida, and I'm immune compromised, so I didn't have anything to do but be in the house.
Yeah.
So I've got me, my 4 monitors, my drawing tablet. All I could do is this and the work at home job I was doing, which didn't last too long. I cycled through a bunch of those, took the money that I had, and went, okay, we're gonna save $2,200 into this project. Go, and we did.
Wow,
And so now we're on Kickstarter. I think we've raised like 1,400 or so now.
that's awesome.
We've got 14 days to go to get the rest. So hopefully we get it. And if not, we do have some backup plans.
That's good.
Our interns actually, well, one of them is from Kay's side. The other one, who's, I think we talked this morning about making them a full part of the team. Because they've been doing absolutely amazing. But they were a backer, and then they reached out and said, "Hi, I'm an artist, and I want to learn Unity. Can I intern for you?" And I went, "Yeah, okay, absolutely." And we've been spending almost every single night working on stuff.
That's so cool.
So
So do you guys have like
it really
set
is.
hours, or do you guys just kind of passion project and work all hours of the day?
Really and truly just that. For instance, yesterday, I couldn't do much. I was waiting on people, so I went and I took a nap. I slept for 5 hours, and I woke up at midnight to, "Hey, wake up! Hey, wake up!" And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "We have a great idea. Hop and call." Okay. And I look in there, and they've got this like spreadsheet and this world
Wow.
map and these characters, and I'm like, "Y'all were busy." And they're like, "We just had so many ideas, and we can't wait to pitch them to you and Kay."
Yeah.
And I sat there for like 2-3 hours going, I slept and you guys worked, and I feel bad now,
Yeah.
but like,
You were dreaming, but they were dreaming awake.
yeah, they really were.
To be fair, though, we did put in like 2 weeks of like 14-hour days straight
Yeah.
getting everything ready. So we deserve a little bit of a break.
Oh yeah, totally. Of course. Like I have to do that
But
too with
we're
myself too, like with stuff I get passionate about. Like I just recently released like a Patreon. Um
Yep.
and like I spent days like planning, plotting. Like I had a Kickstarter before too, so like I kind of knew the drill of like how to plan stuff better. Um so yeah, including the Kickstarter too, like I just spent like all night on it and
Yep.
yeah, I was like, I don't have sleep. That's fine. I'll just function on just a few hours of sleep that I got.
But if we weren't passionate about it, we wouldn't be doing it. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's
it's
Exactly.
crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
It's not my first foray with Kickstarter either. So in 2013, I was 17, and I was a part of the Oculus Rift IndieCade 2013 VR Jam. And that was just essentially, you have 6 weeks to build a VR prototype
Wow.
hosted by Oculus. And I went on the forum and I was looking for something to do. I'm like, I'm a 3D artist out of school. Anybody want? And this team went, hey, we want. And I came, they pitched their idea, and it was basically hide and seek with ghosts. It was Phasmophobia before Phasmophobia
Oh wow.
existed. And um, we built a prototype in 6 weeks. I had a bunch of code and stuff from a previous project that was super similar. Gave all of it to the programmer, and they went, "Well, wow, gave us like a month's worth of work
Wow.
that we don't have to do. So now we can do all the fun stuff." And we did exactly that. We won 16th in the nation for the game
Wow.
jam. And then they go, "Hey, let's put it on Kickstarter." And I'm like, "You're funny. Sure, we're gonna put this on Kickstarter." And we did. Next thing I know, I'm going to school. It was like, I don't know, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. People were trickling in. My classmates are going, "Hey, hey, come look at this video." Okay, why? It's your game. It's my what? And yeah, Jacksepticeye and PewDiePie are playing my game.
Wait, what game was it?
It was Spectre Seekers.
Oh man, I think because I feel like I watched their videos occasionally. I feel like I would have
hmm
saw. I don't know. I guess maybe I just don't remember.
It,
But I'll have
it
to go
was
look.
yeah, it was a really old one.
Wow.
And like this is
Oh
the
yeah,
beginning
because
of
I've only
Jacksepticeye.
been like a recent like watcher of those two on YouTube since
hmm
like maybe 2018 or something is when I started watching them finally. Because I was like, I don't want to give into the hype. I don't want to watch all these people that are so famous. But then yeah, you
Yeah,
eventually give in. You're like, okay,
I'm
I'll
a
see what it's
huge,
all about.
yeah, I'm a huge Markiplier friend. It's actually how I met my other best friend.
Uh huh.
Uh, she was an admin on a Facebook group page. We've been friends ever since,
Oh wow.
which is really funny. And yeah, it was the early days of Jack, and it was the
Yeah.
mid-ish days to PewDiePie, like when he was like the number one money-making YouTuber. And so in 48 hours, we hit over 3 million views. And we look at the Kickstarter, we had asked for like 11 grand or something ridiculous. And we got it. In fact, we went over that and raised like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And we went, okay, this is really cool. Fabrizio Bortolucci joined the team, and he was a concept artist for. Well, he's a teacher for Digital Tutors, or what was Digital Tutors, now Pluralsight now. But he was a concept artist for the Saw movies.
Oh
So he
wow.
made all these really cool ghosts and horror characters that we were like, we can't wait to make these. And some internal stuff happened that's not worth talking about, but the project didn't go forward. It ended up published on Steam, sadly without me. A bunch of us ended up having to leave the team due to
Wow.
the director, but it's my biggest claim to fame. It's like, okay, cool. That was the first ever thing I published. So when I came up with Nimri, I went, okay, this is mine. This is my baby. This is
Yeah.
what I get to do now. And I just, there's been some highs, there's been a lot of lows.
Yeah.
And as soon as Steam went, okay, you have it on, it's here, it's in the store, you can wishlist it. Okay, that's surreal. That this is happening. And then when the
Yeah.
Kickstarter happened and how excited Kay was, I mean, just being out in New Hampshire, first of all, as someone who has not left the room in like 2 years, I got on a plane and went out to New Hampshire in the middle of this mess.
Yeah.
Uh, and I met someone that I met online. Like, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
It was super fun, though. And we're bestest friends, so, and
That's
great
awesome.
coworkers.
Yeah. I feel like it's so weird now because, like, I kind of relate it to, like, the Oasis from, like, Ready Player One. Like, you kind of, like, conceptually, like, 10 years ago, it's still, like, so taboo to, like, oh, you don't, like, talk to strangers, meet strangers, or whatever from the internet. But, like, yeah, there are those risks still, I guess. But, like, majority of the time, it's usually fine. Like, I've been, finding random people, or they found me through, like, social media. And, being able to talk to them on the podcast has been, like, super cool and, like, just opened up my mind to realizing, like, how legitimate, like, people are online. Like, there's people that can, like, be weird or whatever. But, more majority of the time, like, it's totally normal. And honestly, to me, it's more natural to, like, just be like, oh, yeah, let's, like, meet up on Discord and just chat for a bit or something. Don't even know you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy.
Right? I've watched your
Totally
lives a
like
couple of times. I saw your videos. Like I've texted you, and that's really it.
Yeah.
And here we are. So
Yup.
it's so different now, but in
Yeah.
a good way.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
what kills me? Sorry.
Oh,
What
you're
kills
good.
me about the "don't talk to strangers" thing? Uber and Lyft.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
don't just talk to strangers. We get in their cars. Like back in the day, that wasn't a good thing.
Yeah.
Hey, get in the van.
Get in the
I got
van.
candy.
Uh-huh.
And now it's, hey, get in the van. I have candy in the
No.
passenger seat for you and water bottles up front.
Uh-huh.
So, like, all right, cool.
Yeah. That's so crazy.
I feel like too with COVID and everyone working remotely,
Mhm.
and it's especially the last year or two, it's really been kind of embraced too. It's not as weird anymore
Yeah.
as people make it.
Yeah. And I think that's, like, something that's helped me, like, with my personal stuff that I've been trying to do. Because, like, I don't know if you know, but I want to be a content creator. Making art full time and doing videos and stuff like that. Just absolute dream because I love making videos and stuff. But yeah, just, like, when I started really taking it seriously, because I've been making videos and stuff for a long time. But I really started taking it seriously after I graduated in July of 2020. And even a little bit before then, I started, like, really pushing it and, like, talking to people that kind of knew more about the space of, like, doing stuff online. And I think it's because of that, like, feeling like everyone went towards the internet for entertainment, for, like, peace, for everything. It just, like, yeah, I think that, like, helped me a lot with everything. And I think that helps a lot of people that have been trying to work on passion projects lately, is
Definitely.
kind of the push from being in quarantine, kind of a good thing in a way for a lot of people to kind of, get their stuff together and figure it out,
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
I did have a question for you guys. Like, how, are you guys like how are you guys funded, or are you just working like as a passion project, or are you guys actually able to like have, payment and stuff for salaries or per hour? I don't know. How does that work? If you don't mind me asking, of course,
Yeah.
but
The way that it kind of works is, I hate saying it like this, but mostly everybody is volunteer.
okay.
It's people who believe in the project, are passionate about it, and want to add to it. In terms of how the game itself has been funded, that like my savings are gone.
Wow.
Like this is it.
That's it.
That's it.
It's
$1
enough for
to my
Dollar Tree,
name.
maybe.
Yeah, there's $1 there. There's 33 cents in my bank. Like
There
that.
you go.
There's the
Plus
real. There's the
tax.
real for you. Yeah, exactly. I can't even go get a biggie bag from Wendy's on that. Like
Yeah.
that's $4.
Wow.
Uh, Subway, no $5 footlongs.
Yeah.
Uh, with the Kickstarter though, we did have a budget, so we were asking for $100,000, which seems like a lot, but when you
Mhm.
really look at it, we're trying to get our first chapter out by March, and there's just so many people that, first of all, you got to consider how long they've been working on this, in addition to how much longer we're asking them to work on it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, we need to like be respectful of that, and everyone deserves, a living wage.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Um, but in terms of like payment right now, there's no expectation between any of us.
Yeah. That makes
Like, I'm not
sense.
even expecting to, get in what I've already put in. So
Mhm.
if I break even, great. If I go above, awesome. And if I don't make it, we'll cross that bridge later. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, because like I myself have like done stuff like a sticker shop and stuff like that, poured money into
Mhm.
things, and then my sticker shop, I was luckily able to get like barely what I put into it back,
Ooh.
but it wasn't like a lot. It was like probably like $100 or so just to get like supplies, and it was mostly the man hours of just like the learning process of like figuring out how to do things, which
Mhm.
is fun. I think that's like the part of the process that I like, which I think you guys probably like as well, is trying to figure out, okay, we have this crazy concept. Now, what are the logistics on doing that, and doing all the research, whether that be through books. For me, a lot of it's through just like YouTube tutorials, but just figuring out how to make, piece. Okay, so this could work for this, but now I don't know how to do this, so let me learn how to do this so I can do this. And then, yeah, it's like a whole puzzle.
Just being self-taught and
Yeah,
figuring it
Yep.
out as you go.
yeah,
We're big on problem solving, and we enjoy puzzles.
hmm,
We recently played like The Room in VR,
yeah,
and we both really enjoy stuff like that. We just look at this like it's one big puzzle.
yeah,
Yeah.
We don't know what's at the end, but right now we have a bunch of pieces in front of us, and 8 or 9 people over here, X amount of money in the bank, and this amount of time, and just all these, fans that we have now. That's a new thing.
really,
Like, I'm used to people looking at my stuff and go, "Oh, cool, that's neat," and, like, kinda walk away. We've had people look at this and be like, "So, don't be on Dairy Simulator, don't be Cube World, we don't want this in 4 years, we want this in 1 year," and I'm like, "Okay, people actually want this. That's crazy."
yeah, that's
And like you
awesome.
said, they wanna join the team and be a part of it too, so
Yeah,
that's really
exactly,
cool.
like, yeah, the 2 or 3 people we've had that have just been like, "Hey, I wanna help."
Right, that's
So,
awesome.
it's super cool. It's I think, like, money aside, the experience is kind of what I'm finding the most important. Because it's like, what else was I gonna be doing with this time? Really and
Right,
truly.
yeah, yeah. I was thinking on like the way home from my work, I was like, it's just crazy because I was just like, man, thinking about how many hours like I spend doing like my job and stuff, and when I come home, like I jump on the computer and I'm doing stuff typically, and I've had to like pull back from like refraining from myself like working every single day, because that's what I was doing for a while on like my passion projects. And yeah, so I'm just like, man, like at the same time money is important, but at the same time it's like, it's always so much like less important than it's like the world wants it to be. It's kind of crazy. It's like we live to spend money, and we're living to make money to spend. And
Mhm.
it's like
Endless.
that part's important, but also it's like important how or why you spend your money, you know? And like
Yeah.
I recently I've been like on a shopping spree on like Amazon. It's so bad. Because like I've
I've been
gotten into
there.
like more like camera gear and stuff like that. I'm like, I shouldn't be buying this, but I want it. But I want it.
But
And then I'll research it and I'm like, I want it more now. And then yeah, I'll buy it or whatever. But like it's almost it's like worth it to me, because if it's something that like gets me excited and makes me like feel creative and inspired, then like it's worth spending that money. Although it's
Mhm.
probably not the most financially important thing to do, but uh yeah, I think passion, as long as it's like controlled, is like really good, you know.
yeah.
Passion
So that's
projects
kind of
are
like
amazing.
when I met Faye, I had like just quit my job.
Mhm.
I finally said, screw it. I'm done with this crap and I'm working on what I want to do. And that was really the start of it all for me. I was
Right.
focusing on my passion projects. And I was in a situation at the time where I could make that jump. Um, and it's the beginning of an adventure. It really
Yeah.
is.
And she regrets it. She
Not yet.
absolutely regrets it.
Hey, you made a
She'd
short
take it back if
film.
she
I
could.
mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
something
know?
crazy came out of it, which is always fun, like the unexpected creative ventures
Yep.
that you do, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely.
One of the things that I did, because I was like, okay, I could do a Kickstarter, but no one's gonna look at it. I don't
Mhm.
have the reach that like PewDiePie did back then.
Yeah.
So what can I do for this project? And I went, oh, I used to want to like make YouTube videos. Let's do that. And I tried that, and it's like poking a sleeping bear. Is it gonna work?
Yeah.
It didn't. I'm like, I gotta wake this bear up. And then I went on Twitch, and people were following me left and right.
Oh,
And
good.
I'm like, okay, that's fine, I guess. It's not the numbers I want. Then I found VTubing,
Mm.
and that's been a huge thing. I have my own model. She has her own deal. It's super cool. And yeah, just you know, chatting or playing video games or even doing game development with just the model there. People seem to want to see that as opposed to me. Go figure. I don't know why they would want that. But it's just really cool. And then I got into the community a lot, the VTuber community, which
Mhm.
is so interesting and so diverse, and it's just really cool. And I met a couple of people, and through them I met more people, and then I met servers full of people,
Wow.
and it kept going and going, and it's still going. We met two streamers recently that were playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, and they were like, "Oh, hi, how's it going? What were you doing?" And they look and they're like, "Oh, you make games. What kind of games do you make?" And so that opens the door to, "This is what we're doing." And then we told them, and they go, "Wait, what?" And they actually look at it. And I don't know if you saw our React update, the
I don't think
video
I
on
have.
Kickstarter. It's all VTubers.
Oh.
All
Oh,
of them
actually,
react.
maybe I did. Did you post it on TikTok or something? I feel like I saw it somewhere.
A clip of it, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I saw a clip of it because that sounds
Yeah,
kind of familiar.
yeah. Kay posted that night before last.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just VTubers that decided, of their own volition,
Wow.
mind you, to just open up our Kickstarter and show it to like 30, 40 people that were in their chat already going, look at this video, look at these people, look at this. And I popped into Bellfire, and she goes, oh, hey, will you hop on a call and do an interview? And I kind of got used to doing these interviews because it's happened like, I don't know, once a week now.
Wow.
I don't know. We did something with Woolham. They're doing a project, Last Soul on Kickstarter, and they were like, "Hey, you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours."
Yeah.
And so we did that. Um, on the 19th, I'm going to a game development class at a high school to talk about what I've done, which is insane because I remember we had a guest. I can't remember who it was for the life of me, who just came in and talked to us about, I'm in the industry, this is what I do. I'm not big right now, but I'm going to be. And he didn't amount to anything,
Hmm.
unfortunately. But it didn't matter because, as a teenager, hearing someone go, "Hi, I do what you want to do, and you want to do what I want to do, so go do it." So to be that role model for the next generation is like really big for me.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
really cool.
And what's your hope with the game? I guess we didn't really even talk about like the story or anything like that. Like
Not yet.
what are some interesting things about it that you think are significant about like the, I guess, like not only just like playing the game but like the effect that it'll have on other people, like whether emotional or I don't know.
You want to take that one, Kay? You're good at that one.
Okay. Well, it's funny. It's kind of going back to Willem too a little bit and the effect that we want to have on people too. One of the things Willem wanted to talk about in our interview was women specifically in game development. So I'm excited for that aspect as well to be like, um, not that I mean, honestly, I've never considered this career path at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then never mind the fact that just I never even really saw a woman doing it. Like I think it's a common, maybe not so much nowadays. But it's just really cool to me that people are like really interested and they're just like, oh, look at these women doing something so awesome. Um, so I definitely am excited to. I mean, even from a personal side of things, I was kind of a secret gamer.
Mm-hmm.
I never told my friends I liked to play video games because growing up it was what boys did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that part of me is really excited to just be like, this is what I'm doing. And then even more so, taking it a step further to say, I'm writing this story and look at all these cool things that we're going to do. We are toying with the idea of doing like branching dialogue and having, um, your choices are going to be very impactful for throughout the game and will alter the experience a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even change up the kind of outcome you might get. We're toying with, not even toying, we're deep in with ideas of very current ideas. So like the game is all about, um, well, I should say the backstory of the game is all about pollution, how um, technology has just become so advanced that it essentially almost destroyed the world. And that's Nimmery is really all about starting over. So everybody in the world, technology is, yeah, there are some people that are like, let's do technology. There's always going to be people like that. And then there's going to be people on the other side that are like, oh, technology bad. Let's be natural with the world. Things like that. So that's really kind of the main theme of the whole game is, okay, well, how is this world going to, what's the future of this world going to be? Is it going to be very natural? Or are people going to risk destroying the environment like they almost did hundreds of years ago? Um, so there's, aspects of that. Um, there's just so much to it right now that,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still like brainstorming ideas. We've got Aya, who is our main protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so again, we've got a nice strong female lead there. We just announced that she's going to have a girlfriend.
Nice.
So we're
Great.
excited to start creating her. I don't know. Did I miss anything, Faye?
Not really. That's pretty much it. There are going to be like different races. So you saw the video, but the gist for those who haven't is, yeah, the world was almost destroyed due to human pollution and human greed and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Alien came down, and humans saw an alien and did what humans do, and they took over and went, "We're going to use and abuse you for our own purposes." Well, Alien didn't like that. It got its revenge and just completely wiped out entire societies of humans, and the humans had to step back and go, okay, we were almost wiped off the face of this planet. Let's not do this again. And so, yeah, their structures fell and uh, just post-apocalyptic, but overgrowth kind. We're not talking Mad Max.
Right.
Like, there's plenty of flora, plenty of fauna because of more story stuff that you'll see in the game. We
Yeah.
don't want to spoil here, but there's that, and you've got Aya who she's just lived in this outpost, this village. She does her chores. She's very rough and tumble. She'll wrestle with the ibex that she's in charge of herding and taking care of with her family. And she's grown up and now she's with her girlfriend, so they take care of them. And they never really had a reason to go outside. And then this event happens in the beginning of the game, and it's like, okay, we have to go outside now. What do we do with that? Which is, very close to what we're dealing with now.
Mm-hmm.
We could go outside now. We could go outside now. How do we
Mm-hmm.
human? And Aya's gonna get out there and she's gonna see all these crazy, wonderful societies of these animalistic races and be like, "What's that? Whoa, hello,
Mm-hmm.
hi, I want to do it all."
Yeah.
And with the branching dialogues, we want the players to just kind of step into Aya's shoes and be like, "You can do it all. What do you want to do? Everything? Okay, go do it."
Mm-hmm.
But by the way, there are consequences, so have fun with
Yeah.
that. You want to be, you want to walk into a city and the townspeople aren't being treated very nicely, and they ask you for help, and you decide that the coin is worth it, and you're going to help them, be oppressed. Well, don't walk into any of the shops that expect to be treated nicely, or walk out of there with that under the table piece of armor that they were keeping if you decided to be nice,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Or, okay, there's a character at the beginning, and you could choose to be nice, or you could choose to be not. He may show up later and just kick your ass, and you'll be like, okay, who is this person? Why are they attacking me? And then he'll say something about, hey, remember when you did this? And it'll make you stop and think, oh, wait a minute, this is similar to like Shadow of Mordor with the enemy system.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rifle, you know, that was really cool to see. So I went, yeah, let's do that. Why not? And the people that I've shown the game are like, oh, so it's because we do have dungeons. We have these ruins that I is going to be able to go into and explore and like learn the history and basically make up her mind if she wants, to help bring tech back or keep things natural. Um, or whatever. And the clues are gonna be there. The whole story's not, and it's up to the player to kind of take that, and then also how they feel about what they've seen, and determine how they're gonna play the game at that point. Like,
The future is
multiple
in your
endings?
hands.
Question mark.
Yeah. So is it similar? I guess because the only way I'm not the biggest gamer, but I do love some of the really good staples like Breath of the Wild was definitely one of my favorite games. So is it similar to that in kind of the way it plays, where it's a little bit more open world and yeah.
Yeah, it's so what it's kind of been coined as by my mentors and a couple of the other people in the industry have gone. So it's like Zelda, but Horizon Zero Dawn and kind of Biomutant like,
Mm-hmm.
but also like old RPG staples are being brought back. Like some of the stuff that you could do like D&D that they
Mm-hmm.
don't really put in video games that you're like, wow, why won't somebody do that? And we've thought about it and we're working on it.
Right.
We don't know what form it's going to take, but I'm a huge, not a huge player, but I played a lot of D&D,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of tabletop role play games in general, Call of Cthulhu, Kids on Brooms, stuff like that. And I've also DM'd a bunch of games. And what I like about being a DM is the same thing that I like about being a storyteller. Is I'm going to give you a story, and then you as a player are going to turn it on its head. And in a lot of video games, you can't do that. You're given their story and how they want you to play it.
Right.
And we don't really want to stick with that with ours.
That's good, because those are the kind of games I love. I love being able to just like, hey, there's like a task or whatever, but like you can go like mess around with it in the forest over there and mess around with the animals or something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you could definitely pet the animals. Like,
Awesome.
We're gonna make sure pet all the animals.
Yes.
yeah.
Like
think that's
people
in,
people
like,
on TikTok and the internet would blow up about that. Like, oh my gosh, you can pet the animals. Those little
Exactly.
things people notice. They love that.
Yeah.
The details.
for instance, one thing we can say. So I has an ibex partner, much like Link has Epona and stuff like that. Instead of in Zelda, where you were given your horse and they already have a name, or yeah, you can name them something crazy, whatever. You're going to be able to pick from, a couple of variants of ibex, and they're going to have different stats. And they're going to have different patterns or colors, and you can name them. Like it, it's going to be really cool, and that's one thing that I love is cool. It's not just a reskin or a recolor or a different texture on a different model. It's a completely new animal.
That's cool.
I'm gonna pick this one, and this one is mine, and this one is named Cherry, and it is mine. So we're hoping that the players like that as well.
Wow.
You
That'd
know,
be awesome.
feed and take care of your animal. That's
Yeah.
another thing. Speaking of animal, I keep seeing your critter over there hop up and jump down. And...
Yes. Yeah, my dogs.
Oh,
They like to be around me, so there's nothing I can do but leave my door open, and they'll jump on my bed and stuff and hang out.
I got to do that usually, wander around.
Yeah.
My cat's over there sleeping. She's mad that I'm all the way up here in my high chair and she can't jump in my lap because she's got some really bad back legs right now. So
Yeah.
she's getting older.
Yeah.
She's like, just pick me up, Mom. I'm like, I don't want to. I have an interview.
Yeah. When are you guys planning to have the project complete? Do you guys have a kind of a general period of time that you're planning on?
Well, like we said, chapter 1, we're aiming for March.
And that's really just going to be tutorial, basically. I mean, it's going to be like your first dungeon and whatever, but it's really going to be like the call to action chapter.
So if we're using Breath of the Wild as the example, that's your Great Plateau.
That's, yeah.
And
so there's going to be a lot more.
Yeah, so that's big.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not going to be open world. That's one thing we've kind of been like, okay, putting our foot down. We can't be Breath of the Wild. We don't have that. We don't have those resources.
Yeah.
So what can we do? And we're pretty sure at this point we're just gonna chunk up the world a little bit. Like, yeah, you could go walk in the overworld and whatever. Walk into a town over here, walk over there, but there, you can get from one area to the other without having to walk it.
Yeah.
Because I find a lot of open world games run into the issue of, as pretty as this is, it's incredibly empty, and all I'm doing is riding on my horse, and I've let go of the controller at this point, and it's just pathfinding on its own. I go, yeah, I put the controller down, and I have enough time to go make a grilled cheese and come back. It's still going. Like, nothing's happened here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
so,
because like as I guess kind of like annoying as those parts are too, like I still kind of enjoy them, but I feel like too, like as long as like especially maybe in like your sort of parameter of like what you're capable of doing as like a smaller team, I think it'd be cool to have like, it's a little bit more closed world, but at least if you had to travel a little bit, like there'd be like a point or reason or something to do along the way. So that way it doesn't feel like, oh, just point A to point B. It's like point A, B, maybe C, and then D to where we're supposed to get, I think that'd be kind of cool. But definitely a lot more work, I guess, with that, because you have to come up with, okay, another task, then more dialogue, more things, and be crazy.
That was one thing that Skyward Sword did pretty well. They had some issues where, you had, 5 areas you could go. You had Skyloft, you had Eldin, you had, all of this. And we're going to keep you in this itty-bitty world, but we're going to make you go back and forth and back and forth. And we're like, okay, we don't want to do that because that's tedious. And that also means yeah, our worlds are smaller, but like you said, you have to put stuff in there for, well, what if they come back? What are they going to be able to do that's different? They can't just talk to the same NPCs with the same dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, okay, slightly bigger world, and we're going to fill it full or close to full. There are going to be some areas you can't get to without certain equipment. You know, pretty standard. If it's cold up there, you can't go up there in a
Mm-hmm.
Speedo. You don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the 3 Heart Zelda runs where Link's not wearing anything. Go fight Ganon with a mop and a pot lid. I've been there. I've done that. I love it. We're not doing that here.
Uh-huh.
No, she's going to keep clothes on.
Yeah.
You're actually going to get to make your clothing.
Oh, that's
That's
cool.
one thing. Yeah, I played a lot of World of Warcraft, and crafting was huge for me. And a lot of the games don't take advantage of what they can actually do.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, Breath of the Wild, another, keep going back to that. The breakable weapons. Understand why it happened and made perfect sense. You're gonna put all these weapons out there, and you know you can't hold on to them forever. So stop being precious about it.
Uh-huh.
Let
But I
me
just want
fix
to.
them.
I just want a smithy that can fix the ones I really like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me break them 3 times and I don't get it back. That's fine, but not one and done.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand that. So Aya's gonna have a bunch of different stuff. She's primarily like martial artist because
Mm-hmm.
rough and tumble farm girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty smart and can adapt to pretty much anything. And when you get the magic part involved, which is a whole other ball game, because you got the magic, you got the technology, and then you start getting like materia Final Fantasy like
Mm-hmm.
with it, and you go, okay, that's cool. Let me pick up this weapon, and oh, well, this is just like the sickle I used to use at home to cut the grass. And suddenly I is like, oh, I can do this with it. And now she's able to use an axe pretty efficiently. And then again, added the magic side of things. And oh, we've got vines that are coming up around her and squeezing the enemies and stuff like that. So, pick up an axe, pick up a lance, pick up a sword. But it's not like, okay, pick up 50 different weapons. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, no. You only have so many spaces. You only have this much inventory. And I think a lot of games focus too much on the weapons and not enough on the armor itself.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one thing I liked in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. You had all the different outfits, and they all tied in the area that you were going in. So, like, oh, we're going to go in this ancient temple. Well, you have to dress the part.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually have to go, like, get the outfit from somebody. And then the villagers start treating you like one of their own. So you get all these, like, insider details that you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't get if you were just, Lara Croft.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I think that's one of the things too that's really good is all the details and if it's anything like I've learned with like because I've been trying to self-teach about to myself self-learn I guess learn about more about storytelling and about whether that's through video whatever you want to do because like I'm working on web comics and stuff that I have planned for future stuff um
mm-hmm,
and I just always find it interesting and like the biggest thing that I think anyone can take away from storytelling is like show don't tell because
mm-hmm.
sometimes just we'll throw a narration or do this and it's like well you could do that or you could just show it it's more powerful sometimes than just the written word or spoken word.
I've had
Yeah.
that drilled into my brain
Mm-hmm.
in college. Definitely show, don't tell.
Kay had this really good idea, actually, or we kind of came up with it together. I don't know anymore, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm.
We've soundboarded off of each other so often. It's like, where did this start? We started talking about tacos, and now we have this new mechanic. That's what I know. But again, show don't tell. Talking about this big event that happened 100 years ago. One of the things, back to Breath of the Wild first, one more time. Being able to play through that in Breath of the Wild would have been awesome instead of just the memories.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, can we do something like that? Would it have to be DLC? I'm not big on DLC at all, especially when it's like content behind the paywall. If I'm paying $60 for a video game, the whole video game better be there.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not, I'm gonna be really mad. But in this instance, it's like if we were to have them play through that, it would probably be an entirely different game. So we were like, okay, stretch goal, playable prologue, Question mark.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like one of the things we put up there. Also on our Kickstarter, we have 2 full-blown side quests, kind of like the Hyrule Compendium, where you take pictures of all the stuff
Mm-hmm.
and fill it up. Instead of taking pictures, you would just have to interact with everything once. We're not going to make you walk around with a camera, especially in a
Yeah.
world that doesn't know what a camera is at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But there would be like, oh, if we get this much, we would do it for all the flora because we have a lot of different, really cool plant life. Because it's like, okay, we have magic and plants. What could go wrong? And if we got to the next stretch goal, it's like, okay, we have flora, now we have fauna, all these, 2 or 3 new races that would be around that you would have to, interact with.
Mm-hmm.
Hint, hint, what does a snake
Mm-hmm.
person look like? We don't know yet. We're working on it. But it's just watching the Kickstarter blow up has been really cool. And transparency here, we know we're not going to get the 100K, but that's
Yeah.
fine because we did expect to. We were hoping to. Like, we're not going to sit here and say that,
Right.
but we were. Okay. Cool. Thank
Shedding
you.
light on the situation, I guess.
Shedding light. Yeah. Good cop, bad cop. No. Like, no, we were hoping to, but we're realists.
Yeah.
But Kay had a great idea of setting up a coffee, which I've not used a whole lot. I did Patreon when it was like good
Mm-hmm.
for a little bit. So
Coffee
we're
has
like,
updated a lot.
yeah. So like, okay, what if we take some of what we've been promising on Kickstarter and we chunk it down to, monthly? Like, okay, we said these digital wallpapers. Well, instead of people getting like 4 or 5 wallpapers to choose from, they get one a month,
Mm-hmm.
or they get something special from, each part of our team.
Right.
Like, oh, you get a devlog from the programmers one month. You get, this hand painted, piece of art that our interns wanted to do because they were bored.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just special stuff you wouldn't get anywhere else. And the team's really excited for it.
Yeah.
Because they like just drawing fan art of this project whenever they want. So it's really cool. And we've had, fans on Twitter that have drawn some really cool stuff as well. And I just, okay, we're a fandom now. Let's make the most of it, and let's not let anybody down.
Yeah.
That's really honestly like one of my fears about the project is like nothing comes out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can't even get a playable demo out is like my worst fear because I want to at
Won't let
least
that
get
happen.
something in people's hands.
Yeah.
What?
I won't let that happen.
I know you won't, and I won't either. Like hell or high water. So we're hopeful.
Yeah. Definitely. No, I totally get that. Because like I did a Kickstarter earlier this year, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I worked really hard on it. I was trying to fund to make actual pins from a manufacturer. And so I had a few designs and stuff, and I had set this whole plan out. I was very much realistic, but also being ambitious, as like you probably understand. Like you're like, I'm going all out, even though I know this is probably not gonna work. And like I set all my extended goals of like if we hit this, we'll unlock a new pin, and then I was also accompanying each pin with like holographic stickers and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
And so I was like, oh, it's gonna be awesome. And I'd figured out all the logistics, spent hours talking to a friend who knew more about Kickstarter, who also knew somebody who does Kickstarter like constantly as like their careers. Like they make board games, they kickstart it, they raise a bajillion dollars, like seriously so much money, and then they do it again, and so they're just like millionaires or whatever. So yeah, I was
Yes,
trying to
please.
incorporate all those things, and then definitely kind of like I guess sort of like in a ratio standpoint, because my goals were definitely not like 100,000, but they're kind of smaller, and I think I had it at like 1,000 or something, or no, it was less than that. I forget what it was, but I made a little dent with even though it was like a lot of funding from a lot of friends and family and people that I met online, but it just was never going to be enough. But I think what we all learned from that is like you kind of take a step back. And I definitely want to get back into it and try it again. But I'm like more, I'm happy that I did that because like right now with like my Patreon, even though I don't have anything happening right there right now, it's nice because what I learned from Kickstarter, I'm putting into some other project. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with my like my education now with knowing how pins work and manufacturers work, it's like, well, I could spend $300 for one design and get like 100 of them and have to wait months for it to come, which is cool. Like it's a cool thing. But also I'm like, I could just also go on, you know, another manufacturer's website and just order button pins. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're not like die cut or anything, but it's still cool and it's still my artwork. So it's like, I think, you know, whatever happens, it's like you're never really at a loss. Like, yeah, maybe you lost money, you lost potentially time, but like, I guess that time is investment because you're only bound to succeed because, like, if you never quit, then you never lose anything. Like, if you keep going, like,
Mm-hmm.
that's all that matters.
You'll
Yeah,
It's
you
just
always
only
like keep
fail
learn.
when you
going.
don't try.
Yeah. That's something I've been trying to figure out with myself, like motivating myself is like, you know, like I'm never going to lose anything unless I actually legit decide to quit and I stop doing what I'm
Right.
doing, like
Yeah.
entirely.
Yeah.
There's no way because
Everything
you're
is.
bound to hit some success somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's
all
all just
experience.
investments into a future success that may happen now, may happen later, and that success may take off and be like you're successful for the rest of your life. I don't know.
Right. You never
Yeah,
know.
Yeah.
everyone's hopeful for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing
The
that's
snowball.
really cool is, right, we want that snowball.
Uh-huh.
I'm in Florida. There are no snowballs.
Arizona, same.
Uh, one thing that's cool with Kay's background, though, is she's a published author. So I
Oh,
really wanted to
awesome.
lean heavily on that, not just with the story, but also with the lore. And so one of the things we talked about doing, especially for the upcoming holidays, is like a series of like children's books,
Mm.
kind of. I hate using this as a reference, but it is what it is. J.K. Rowling's Tales of Beedle the Bard,
Mhm.
except bigger. We're talking like
Yeah.
20, 30 stories,
Oh,
all about
wow.
Nimri, about this world we just made.
Yeah.
So, like, if Kay wants to talk about that a little bit and the thought behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's obviously and we plan on dropping little bits of dialogue in the game as well that reference back to these stories, like especially with the children.
Mhm.
Um and so these are obviously there's going to be a lot of lore, and there's going to be different stories per region. So in one region, so we have our two societies. We have the Renus and the Vultist. So the Renus were probably going to tell stories to their kids about how the Vultists are bad guys. Well, on the other hand, the Vultists are going to be telling their kids that, oh no, the Renus are the ones that are jerks. Um, so we're going to have, with all the races and societies, kind of um, conflicting stories and worldviews, and it goes back to what Faye had said earlier about it's really up to the player to decide what they want to do with that information, what they want to believe, how they want to act on it. So you're slowly going to pick up all these little details, all these little pieces of history, and you're going to have to put it all together and make your choices. So the fairy tales are going to be um, very worldwide, and then at the same time, very per society,
Right.
dropping in all that little bits of lore and history.
That's awesome. That sounds like a really good plan too, especially working with the artist because that's just viz
Yeah.
dev, you know.
Hmm.
That'd be great.
And we're primarily an artist-heavy team. I mean, I'm an artist. I'm not a programmer.
Mhm.
Kay's somewhat of an artist, but
Mm.
mostly a writer. Oh, hush. She's honestly, I'll get back to what I was saying, but huge props because I do graphic design
Mhm.
and art. Like I've had my hands in
Same.
a little bit of everything, so it's like cool. I'm certified in Photoshop. I'm certified in audio software and whatever. K comes from a web development and writer background. However, putting together this Kickstarter, How many skills have you picked up working on this project?
Like I said, I filmed, I directed, I made a costume. I made a lot of the graphics on there. And that was a headache because I'm not a
Mhm.
Photoshop person, so I was doing a lot of learning on the fly
Yeah.
there.
And it's
Yeah, I guess I'm a graphic artist now.
Yep.
exactly. So we're
That's
very,
how I learned
art
graphic
heavy.
design. Just I took like one
Just do it.
introductory class in college, and then ended up getting a job where I have now, where I do graphic design and stuff for advertising. And so, yeah, there's
Nice.
skills you pick up, and you get to use them for your own benefit.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, since we're primarily art heavy, I've been just really leaning in on that. Hey, everybody, make as much art as you want. We'll put it somewhere.
Hmm.
Someone will see it or they won't. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
We have stuff up on the website that, I commissioned and we were like, okay, we're going to use it for the Steam promo page. But someone was like, people are going to look at that and think that's the art for the game, right? And it's
Hmm.
like, okay, that was a really expensive art piece, but if people are going to think that, I don't want it there. So let's just put it on the background of the website instead. And the person who made it's like, I thought this was going on Steam. And I'm like, so did I. But I learned something new and we want this to succeed. So, you know, things change. Nothing is set in stone. Like,
Hmm.
you could be interviewing us, in 6 months to a year about this again. And we'd be like, hey, Nimri took an entire turn. It's now a Western. No, that's not happening. It actually started out as like this Icelandic, Nordic, and Egyptian theme type thing. But then while I was working on it the first time, Assassin's Creed Valhalla came out, the God of War came out, and I'm over here like, cool. Okay, whatever. And so I went, okay, gonna do this now. And then Kano, Bridge of Spirits came out, and you've got this strong female protagonist that's very heavy and Dark Souls like combat. I was over here like, I can't change it. I've already put so much money into it. Let's finish it. So it's just like, okay, you know what? We can have competition. It's fine.
Yeah. It's harder to
So
be more original nowadays because
Yeah,
so much time has passed and people have made so many different stories. It's hard to stand out from the rest.
everything's
definitely.
derivative.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. We had Pong, and now we have this.
Huh.
Oh,
That's awesome. Um, well, I would like to ask you guys if you have any sort of, I guess, tips or advice. Maybe there are people out there that might be listening or watching that might be interested in doing similar things. What would you
hmm
suggest to them? And then also, um, whatever you guys want to promote, like, of course, Nimri, but whatever you guys want to promote, like, let us know and where to find it and how to support.
absolutely. I would say for my game designers or people that are just like, I want to make games, but I don't know where to start with Unity. Or if you're like, I want to do 2D stuff instead, fine, grab RPG Maker.
Hmm.
Like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's where I started.
Or
I
Blender.
was using art and Blender. I'm not a
Blender's a good start, general start, right? I think.
uh, it's gotten better. I have Blender and I have a love-hate
Mm.
relationship in that I use Maya. So, and
I've
the thing
used
when it
Maya
comes,
before too. I took a 3D class and I did not like it. Went to Blender and I was like, oh, this is so much laid out so much better. At least in my opinion, because I'm more of like I don't use like Photoshop and stuff to do artwork. I use Procreate on my iPad, so I'm more of like the user interface is a little bit simpler. Then I'm happier.
Yeah.
yeah, see, and I'm the other way where I'm like, I can't see everything that I use on a regular basis. I'm going crazy right now.
Huh?
With Maya, it's like there's so much stuff everywhere, and everyone's like information overload. And I'm like, no, it's perfect. No, it's not. She's temperamental. You have to give her a cookie every once in a while. She'll crash on you, and you'll lose 8 hours worth of work, and your assignment's due the next day.
Hmm.
I went to Full Sail University for 11 months trying to get a bachelor's degree. TLDR, it didn't work out. I lost my financial aid due to some behind the scenes accounting fun stuff.
Mm.
Someone ran off my account to the Cayman Islands along with some military stuff. That happened, and
Well,
now I owe to the tune of like 12 grand or something.
wow.
for something I never got. So student loans, don't do it. Going to school is not worth it. Like, if you expected me to be like, yeah, stay in school, kids. No, don't do drugs, but don't stay in school. Finish high school. I'll say that. Finish high school.
Yeah.
But don't go to any of these for-profit universities
Unless you
like
can get a cheap one,
DeVry.
like I did.
Where did you go?
Well, it was relatively cheap. It's not like cheap, but I went to BYU, Idaho.
Okay.
So not exactly like art school title, but definitely like, in my opinion, like for me, because it depends. For me, like my recommendation for people is like typically like depends on your personality and like what your financial and personal situation is. But for me, I needed structure because I'm naturally pretty lazy, and so school for me, like having people to like say like, hey, do this. Okay, because there's things I need to do, not necessarily that I'm gonna like stick with like doing, I don't know, something like, maybe I'm not gonna be doing sculpture all the time, but like pushing me to do things that I normally wouldn't do, and later on like help me, inform me for like making art and stuff. So like, yeah, for me, like it depends, but if you're like me and you're kind of like naturally lazy and you're like, well, self-taught's kind of hard. I feel like the majority of people that go to college teaches you, if you didn't learn already through high school or anything, like how to be self-taught. And that's what I really needed to learn was through college. Like, hey, here's a general idea of everything. Now you're graduated. Go figure out what you really want to do.
Yeah.
Which is fair. And
Yeah.
I'll say using college for that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're like, oh, well, the only way I'm going to be successful is with a degree,
Yeah.
the industry is changing. There's a
Yes.
conversation that's happening in the industry about what is a degree worth at this point? And before it was, okay, just look at the portfolios and that's all we care about.
Mm-hmm.
But when entry level has become bachelor's degree, there's a problem here. Because, I've been doing this, since I was 10. But if we really want to talk like semi-indie professional, I've been doing this since I was 17. I'll be 28 next month.
Which
But I don't have a degree.
speaks like a lot, because a degree is like being trained versus experience is way more.
But I can't go get an entry-level job at any studio. I've been laughed out of EA. I actually had an interview at EA, went, I would like to be on the QA team, and they went, ha ha ha, you're funny, get out. And so I was like, cool, thank you, EA Tiburon, wonderful. And so, I applied to Blizzard, and we know the stuff that's going on with them, so hey, it's a good thing. But it's like, okay. But in terms of like how to get started, RPG Maker, Unity, the information's out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a well-kept secret anymore.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, you have to know a whole lot of math to do programming. I may not be a programmer. I'm garbage at math. I can't do it.
Same.
It's the worst. All you need to know are conditional branches and if statements. If this does that, then do this. Once you figure out that logic, that's all the programming knowledge you need. In terms of, how to get started, how to get into the indie scene, just do it. Make a really shitty game, put it on itch.io, and people will love or people will hate it, but they'll know your name.
Right.
Keep doing that.
Yeah.
And then when you want to make your passion project and you're on Kickstarter, instead of people going, well, who the hell's that? Why do I care? They go, oh, wow, they made that really shitty game 6 years ago. I laughed so hard at. Oh, wow, look at this. It's really cool. I'm going to back them.
Yeah.
I wish I would have done, like, talking about regrets here for a little bit. I wish I had taken the advice from several people who told me to do what I'm telling people to do right now. Yeah, I'll give advice if I don't take it. But I wish I would have done that just a little bit more, because even though, with the mentorships with Nathan Lane, with Thomas Brush, with Tim Dawson's, little chats we've had over a couple of years, like, it all boiled down to, hey, I did this and you could do it too. But if people don't know who you are, you're not going to be successful. And I didn't really take it all to heart. I went, okay, but I could do it, right? and we're doing it, and we're just rough and tumble, just like Aya, along the road here.
That's awesome.
So,
That's great.
and then in terms of promoting stuff, I'm a streamer. You can find me at twitch.tv, Everlasting Faye. And then I got Kay into streaming, so I kind of manage her stream.
Oh, that's awesome. I stream as well. I forgot to mention that.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
We'll have to follow. I think actually I did follow you.
probably.
I
Yeah.
probably did.
I'll have to double check everything. Make sure I'm following everybody.
But yeah, Kay streams at what is it? Kaylin X?
It's K. It's supposed to be K Links,
Oh, that's
but
right.
it
Just
has like 2 N's, so people think it's Kaylin.
it had it had 2 Y's in there for like
It
a
does.
while too. So.
It does, yeah. Kayy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Kickstarter, Nimri. I'm sure you'll have a graphic here that's like wish list
Yeah.
or whatever.
I was thinking about it, and actually would probably film like a little. People probably already watched or listened to this, but I'll probably film like a little pre-roll of just like, hey guys, support them if you can, and I'll have the links and everything in the description.
That'll be pretty cool. As far as like footage and whatever, we talked about that. I talked to the programmer and went, "Hey, that stuff we've been working on this entire week, we need to kind of wrap it up and put it in one area and like give it to Zach to put." Because I
That'd be
didn't just
awesome.
want to give you what we had it on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I wanted to give you something unique for your podcast.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So, I think that's really it. I don't think there's anything else to promote.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kay? Anything you can think of?
No.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Or
coffee.
inspirational thoughts.
Well, I wouldn't say anything about the coffee yet.
Okay, fine.
It's not done.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout.
Be on,
Right.
yes. Be on the
Be
lookout
awares.
Be
coffee
aware.
is coming.
Yes.
We will be offering membership tiers, monthly tiers.
Yeah, probably
Lots of good content.
after the Kickstarter. So,
Yeah.
at least after December 1st.
Awesome. Well, I'm so
Right.
grateful to have been able to chat more with you guys and get to know more about Nimri and about all the stuff you guys are doing behind the scenes that goes unseen a lot. That's awesome. And yeah, I'm grateful that you guys took the time to chat with me. I know you guys have been doing a lot of interviews lately, but I'm glad that you
No,
took the
thank
time
Thanks for
out.
having us.
Yeah, of course.
It's been fun.
And again, be
Excited.
sure to check out the links in the description and be sure to follow them on their social medias and back them on Kickstarter, especially. Yeah. With that, thank you guys so much for tuning in and see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye.
Thank you.